view, you can really see. It's like a wasteland up here.
Imagine flying to Hawaii for the famous illegal but iconic Stairway to Heaven hike, only to find out it's been torn down. Or heading to Las Vegas to see the Mirage Volcano, featured in Friends and Ocean's 11, but it's already gone. What if we told you a luxury floating hotel once cruised the Great Barrier Reef, then ended up in North Korea, only to be demolished by Kim Jong-un himself? Or that a glass church built by Frank Lloyd Wright's own son, it's gone because of landslides. This isn't some forgotten history. These places existed yesterday, and now they're gone. If you've ever dreamed of visiting these places, sorry, you're too late. But don't worry, we'll show you what they were, why they mattered, and how they disappeared. Stick around, this one's personal. 15. The Haiku Stairs, Oahu, Hawaii, USA. Also known as the Stairway to Heaven, this one was one of the most talked about illegal hikes in the world. Built in 1942 by the US Navy to install radio antennas during World War II, the stairs stretch across nearly 4,000 steps along the steep cliffs of Oahu's Kauai mountain range. The stairs gained significant attention after appearing in the 1980s television series Magnum P.I., even though it was closed to the public in 1987 because of safety issues and private land access. That didn't stop hikers. Every year, around 4,000 people still trespass to experience it. Locals grew frustrated. Emergency rescues became common and expensive. The city finally had enough. In 2023, Honolulu City Council voted to remove the stairs entirely. It wasn't just about the cost, it was about safety and respecting the community. The removal started in 2024, ending decades of debate. What once was a dream hike for adventurers is now erased, with signs warning no more stairway, no more heaven. 14. Elephant Trunk Rock, New Taipei City, Taiwan. It was one of Taiwan's most iconic coastal spots. The rock formation in Shinao looked exactly like an elephant dipping its trunk into the sea. Tourists from around the world came for the photo, standing right on top of the trunk while waves crashed below. Even Taiwanese tourism websites used its image to promote travel to the area. But the rock was fragile. For years, geologists warned that natural erosion was weakening the formation. Typhoon Koino in 2023 made it worse. After the storm passed, satellite images confirmed the news. The trunk had collapsed entirely. The head of the elephant was split. The famous photo spot was gone. Local officials had tried to limit access before the disaster, but many tourists ignored warnings. After the collapse, the government officially removed it from travel brochures and online maps. Today, people still visit Shinao, but only to see where the elephant used to be. What once was a proud landmark featured in hundreds of wedding shoots and travel videos now lives only in old footage. 13. Honey Run Bridge, California, USA. The historic wooden bridge stood in Butte County for over 130 years. Built in 1886, Honey Run Covered Bridge connected Paradise to Chico and became a beloved photo spot for both tourists and locals. With its rustic wooden roof and scenic river views, the bridge looked like something from a postcard. But in November 2018, the Camp Fire, the deadliest wildfire in California's history, ripped through the region. The bridge was no match for the flames. It was completely destroyed. Families who grew up visiting it, couples who took wedding photos there, and even people who drove through it on their way to work were left heartbroken. After the fire, there were massive efforts to rebuild. Donations poured in, and by 2022, a replica was completed. But the original structure, that's gone forever. It's important to note that the Camp Fire didn't just destroy the bridge, it also claimed over 85 lives and nearly wiped out the entire town of Paradise. If you like this video so far, leave a like, and you can also check out 50 most beautiful places on planet Earth on our channel, Forever Green. 12. Wayfairers Chapel, California, USA. Called the Glass Church, Wayfarers Chapel was a unique piece of architecture on the cliffs of Rancho Palos Verdes. Designed in the 1940s by Lloyd Wright, son of Frank Lloyd Wright, The chapel was built with walls of glass, surrounded by tall redwood trees. It looked like nature itself was part of the building. People came here to get married, pray, or just sit quietly with a view of the Pacific Ocean. It was so beautiful that it became a popular filming spot, seen in shows like The OC, 90210, and even in celebrity weddings. But coastal erosion and landslides started threatening the cliff. In 2023, the foundation under the chapel began shifting. Experts warned that the entire structure could collapse if action wasn't taken. In 2024, the tough decision was made: dismantle the chapel carefully to preserve its pieces. The stained glass wooden beams and even the altar were packed up in hopes of rebuilding it elsewhere. But for now, that exact view, that location, and that peaceful feeling you got standing there, it's all gone. Tourists now only find a fence and signs saying the site is closed due to safety. 11. Private streets of Glen, Kyoto, Japan. Glen is the heart of traditional Kyoto, known for its tea houses, lantern-lit alleys, and most famously, geishas. For decades, tourists from all over the world visited this area, hoping to see geishas walking to their appointments. Some streets were privately owned but remained open to the public out of goodwill. But in recent years, things got out of control. Tourists would block narrow paths, grab at geishas for photos, and even enter private homes thinking they were tea houses. Local residents complained of harassment, trash, and disrespect. In response, local residents and officials decided to restrict access to certain private streets in Glen. Starting in April 2024, signs were posted and fines of up to 10,000 yuan were introduced for trespassing in this area. The main street, Hanamikoji, remains open to tourists, but the smaller alleys are now off limits. The decision made headlines in Japan. Some called it sad, but necessary to protect the culture. Now these streets are off limits unless you live there or have a special invitation. 10. Chicaltia Ski Lodge, Bolivia. Once the highest ski resort in the world, Chicaltia sat at 5,300 meters, 17,400 feet in the Bolivian Andes. Built in the 1930s, it was a surreal place. Snow in South America, with views stretching from the Amazon basin to the city of La Paz. Skiers had to take a bumpy ride up the dangerous mountain roads just to get there. But the real thrill? You were skiing on a glacier that was 18,000 years old. Sadly, global warming didn't spare it. Scientists had predicted the glacier would last until 2015, but it disappeared much earlier, in 2009. What's left today is a dry slope, scattered rocks, and the ghost of what once was a winter playground. The lodge still stands, abandoned and quiet. Tourists visit out of curiosity, not to ski, but to see the impact of climate change up close. 9. Marble Arch Mound, London, UK. London has seen its fair share of strange ideas, but the Marble Arch Mound might top the list. Opened in July 2021, this man-made hill near Oxford Street promised panoramic city views and a green escape in the middle of London's traffic. It cost €6 million to build, but the reality? Visitors saw construction scaffolding, brown patches instead of grass, and a view that wasn't worth the entry fee. People joked online that it looked like a dirt pile with stairs. The attraction quickly went viral for all the wrong reasons. Just 6 months later, the city dismantled it. By early 2022, the mound was gone. Politicians called it a monumental failure. Even Mayor Sadiq Khan faced criticism for allowing the project to happen. The site was meant to draw shoppers back post-lockdown. Instead, it became a meme. 8. The Hippodrome Theater, New York City, USA. In the early 1900s, the Hippodrome was the biggest theater in the world. Located on 6th Avenue in Manhattan, it could seat over 5,000 people and had a stage large enough to hold a full circus. Elephants, diving horses, giant musical productions, it hosted them all. Even Harry Houdini performed there in 1918, famously making a full-grown elephant vanish in front of a live audience. But by the 1930s, times changed. People preferred smaller theaters and movie screens. The Hippodrome couldn't keep up. It closed in 1939 and was demolished soon after. Today, an office building called the Hippodrome Center stands in its place. Most tourists in NYC don't even know it existed. Before proceeding to our next selection, we invite you to explore our video on 15 mysterious places you are not allowed to visit. Now, back to our list. 7. Mirage Volcano, Las Vegas, USA. Since 1989, the Mirage Volcano was one of Las Vegas' most famous free shows. It sat right in front of the Mirage Hotel on the Strip, shooting fire, water, and smoke every night to music. It wasn't just fun for tourists. Locals loved it too. It even appeared in the movie Volcano, 1997, and was often shown in Vegas montages on shows like CSI and Friends. But in 2022, Hard Rock International bought the Mirage Hotel. Their plan? Tear down the volcano and replace it with a new guitar-shaped hotel tower, similar to their one in Florida. Fans of the show protested online, and even some city officials hoped to save it, but business won. In May 2024, the volcano erupted one last time. After 35 years of thrilling crowds, it was shut down and quickly demolished. Hard Rock says their new project will open in 2027, but for many who grew up visiting the Strip or brought their kids to see the fire and music, something magical is now missing. 6. Mukarab Namibia. Mukarab was one of Namibia's most iconic landmarks. Its name means finger of God in local language, and for a good reason. This massive sandstone rock stood 36 meters tall, with a narrow neck and a top that looked like it defied gravity. Geologists estimated it was over 50,000 years old. For years, people believed it was indestructible. It even made its way into travel magazines and postcards across Africa. But that illusion shattered on December 7, 1988. That night, after strong wind and rain, the formation collapsed. Some say a minor earthquake in the area helped trigger it. Others believe the erosion had simply reached its final point. There were no tourists present when it fell, just a security guard who later reported the rumbling and crashing sound. Today, visitors can still go to the spot where Mukarab once stood, but there's only a pile of broken rock left. At Vidam Park, Budapest, Hungary. Vidam Park was once the pride of Budapest. Opened in 1847, it was one of the oldest theme parks in Europe. Families came here for over 165 years to ride the wooden roller coaster, see the puppet shows, and laugh inside the funhouse. Some rides dated back to the early 1900s, including a hand-operated carousel and a spooky walk-through castle. It became a local favorite and appeared in multiple Hungarian movies and music videos. It was the kind of place where multiple generations went together, grandparents pointing out the rides they rode as kids. But in the 2000s, visitor numbers dropped. The park needed repairs it couldn't afford. Finally, in 2013, after years of debt, Vidam Park closed its gates for good. Some parts were dismantled, but others still stand, abandoned. Today, the site is part of the Budapest Zoo's expansion, but the old roller coasters and Ferris wheel still peek out behind trees, like ghosts of childhood's past. 4. Double Arch, Glen Canyon, USA. Hidden inside Glen Canyon, Utah, Double Arch wasn't just beautiful, it was rare. Two massive sandstone arches formed naturally, side by side, like nature's giant windows. The site wasn't as famous as Arches National Park, but to those who saw it, it was unforgettable. It was formed from 190-million-year-old Navajo sandstone and had been a popular geological feature for visitors. However, sandstone is soft. Over the years, erosion ate away at its structure. In late 2022, after heavy rain and windstorms, one of the arches collapsed completely. The U.S. National Park Service confirmed the loss, and scientists said it was a natural end to a long, slow erosion process. The news didn't go viral like some attractions, but those who visited before felt lucky. Now, only half the arch system remains, and the site is no longer considered a highlight of the area. 3. Royal Opera House, Valletta, Malta. The Royal Opera House in Malta was once the pride of Valletta, designed by British architect Edward Middleton Barry, who also worked on the Royal Opera House in London. It opened in 1866 and became one of Europe's most beautiful theaters. It hosted operas, concerts, and plays that brought people from all over the Mediterranean. But its life was filled with tragedy. Just 6 years after opening, a fire nearly destroyed it. It was rebuilt. Then in 1942, during World War II, it was hit directly by German bombs in an air raid and heavily damaged. Even after the war, the ruins stood in the middle of the capital as a silent witness to Malta's pain and pride. For decades, there were arguments about rebuilding it, but no solid plans went forward. Finally, in 2013, the ruins were transformed into an open-air performance space called Piazza Teatro Real. It's beautiful in its own way, but the original opera house, with its carved stonework and Victorian glamour, is gone forever. 2. Six Flags, New Orleans, Louisiana, USA. Before Hurricane Katrina, Six Flags, New Orleans was a fun-packed amusement park filled with rides, screams, and cotton candy. Opened in 2000 under the name Jazzland, it was later bought and rebranded by Six Flags. And it even became a filming location for movies like Percy Jackson, Sea of Monsters, and Killer Joe. But in August 2005, everything changed. Katrina hit Louisiana hard, and the park was submerged under 7 feet of water. The rides rusted, the paint peeled, and the power never came back on. Six Flags never reopened it. For nearly 20 years, the site stood frozen in time. Roller coasters covered in moss, stuffed toys still sitting in game booths, abandoned like a movie set. It became a favorite spot for urban explorers and horror YouTubers, but the city of New Orleans saw it as a liability. In 2023, demolition began to make way for a new redevelopment project, including film studios and stores. 1. Four Seasons Barrier Reef Resort. This one might be the strangest hotel story ever. The Four Seasons Barrier Reef Resort was a floating hotel. Yes, floating. Designed in Sweden and built in Singapore in the 1980s. It was towed out to the Great Barrier Reef, off the coast of Queensland, Australia, where guests could swim by day and sleep in luxury at sea. It had 200 rooms, a nightclub, a bar, a helipad, you name it. It was even featured in travel ads as the 8th wonder of the world. But operating it was expensive. In just 1 year, it closed. Then came the weird part. It was sold to Vietnam, where it floated in the Saigon River as a hotel for a few more years. When that failed, it was shipped to North Korea in 1998 and renamed the hotel Haeumgang, aimed at South Korean tourists visiting Mount Kumgang. But tensions rose. After a tourist was shot in 2008, visits stopped. The hotel sat abandoned, rusting in North Korean waters. In 2023, leader Kim Jong-un ordered it demolished, calling it shabby and unnatural for North Korea's image. And that's it for today. See you in the next episode on Forever Green.